All righty then, here we go. Hi, wel-
Hi.
welcome to the Paranormal 101, the third episode. We missed the last two. Let's see. So someone's asking me what it means when they keep seeing 888 and other numbers in triplicate. So, interesting enough, the universe is all numbers. And it starts with the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence is when you multiply a number like 3, 6, 9, and it continues on. So a sunflower is a perfect example of that. When you look at how many petals there are around, they just keep multiplying. Our DNA falls under that. Everything in the universe falls under that same Fibonacci sequence. Let me see if I can pull it up for you exactly. Fibonacci sequence. I'll give you a better explanation of it. Each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. So you have 0 and 1 would be 0 and 1, and then you have 1 would be 2, 2 and 1 would be 3, 3 and 2 would be 5, 5 and 3 would be 8, 8 and 5 would be 13. So it's always the preceding number with that number to make the next number. And our entire galaxy falls under that mathematical equation, everything. Our DNA sequence, when flowers are formed, everything falls under that. It's interesting. But when you see numbers, it's called numerology. Everything has a numeric sequence to it. So every number has a different meaning. And there is a book out by, I find it here. Ta-da. It's called, oh, I'm having one of those days here. Okay, this is the book. It's called Angel Numbers, and it is by Doreen Virtue. And it is out of print. It is very hard to find, and it's very expensive if you find it. But she was the foremost authority on angel numbers. She spent most of her life talking with the angels and getting the meaning of different numbers and different sequences. Now, later in life, she decided to get divorced and remarried a very strict Catholic who told her what she did was satanic. And she wrote another book of numbers and totally wrong answers to every number sequence that she had in her first angel book, just to negate the first book. So you can Google numbers, Doreen Virtue, but you have to make sure you put the spiritual meaning of the numbers, or you're going to get the information from her second book, which is not accurate. So she asked about 888, and 8 is the universe is abundant and generous. So you've learned how to step into the shower of its ever-present flow, create financial prosperity, is yours now and in the future. 8 always has to do with work. So it also has to do with getting it through work somehow. Each number has a different meaning. And when you start seeing repeating numbers, they're trying to get your attention, and you'll start seeing them over and over again because there's a message in there somewhere. Anytime anything out of the ordinary happens, there's a message for you. And the angels are trying to get a message to you because you're not paying attention. We're just kind of letting our day go by, or being engrossed in something else and not paying attention to what is going on around us. So what I want to talk about a little bit tonight was mediumship and how that works. So when I was first training for mediumship, one of the first things I learned from one of my teachers was always give what you get. You know, it may mean absolutely nothing to you, but it could be exactly what the person that you're doing a reading for wants to hear. And there have been many times that what I've had to say that comes out of my mouth means absolutely nothing to the person that's sitting there until a day or two later.
Mhm.
And then it connects and makes perfect sense. Um, when I first started doing this, I was doing a very large show, and there was a gentleman in the front row that I called on who was a widower, and he wanted to talk to his wife who had passed. And I'm up there on the stage, and all I saw, I didn't see her, I saw hands come at me holding a dress. And I'm like, oh my God, do I tell him she didn't show up? What do I do? I'm like, I gotta give what I get. So I'm like, all I'm seeing are a pair of hands, and they're holding out a dress, and I'm hearing prom dress. That's it. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, right? The guy just starts bawling his eyes out. He's like, oh my God, that's my wife. He goes, that was her favorite saying. Every time she left the house to go anywhere, she'd say, I'm off like a prom dress. So once she confirmed to him that it was her that was there, then she was able to really materialize for me to see the rest of her and be able to give him more details and then have a conversation uh, between he and I and her. And she had a lot of questions about the kids and things like that, things that she had to say. So
Mhm.
you always have to give what you get, no matter what it is, even if it doesn't make any sense. When I was really first starting out in training, the first year I had gone to a festival, New Year's Eve, at the VFW or the Elks Club. I might have been the Elks Club in Newport, Rhode Island. And like everybody that starts out, I was reading cards and just doing readings. And the second year I went back, I had a huge line of people waiting for me. They're like, "Oh, we heard you were really good, we want you to, read our stuff." And, I've got daggers getting thrown at me from other people that were doing readings. Some of them, believe it or not, weren't even authentic, which amazes me that people will want to try and do stuff like that when they don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
And they don't, they haven't trained their abilities, but they want to throw stuff out at people. I think that's terrible to do that, quite honestly. If you're training and that's how you want to train, that's wonderful. It's a great way to train to do that, but only if you have the pure intention of doing it and you're not just throwing crap out there. So I was there for, I think we started at like 10 o'clock in the morning. We didn't end till about 9 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
And I was exhausted. I even had to have people like hold the line for me while I went to the bathroom. It was that bad. Excuse me. And there were 15-minute readings, so it was bam, 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 bam with no break. And when I was all done, I'm starting to pack things up. There was this older woman who looked to be in her 80s sitting off to the side at a side table with, I found out, her daughter. Her daughter was probably in her 50s. And her daughter came over and she's like, "Oh, you all done for the night?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm exhausted. I can't wait to go home." And she's like, "Well, could you do one more reading?" She goes, "My mom's been sitting over here for a couple hours just waiting for you. She couldn't wait in the line." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, bring her over." So she sat her down and she says, "I'm going to go sit over here, but I want to give her some privacy while she does the reading." I'm like, "Okay." Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So I ask everyone, "Do you want to talk to somebody from the other side or did you want to do a reading? What would you like?" She goes, "I want to talk to my son." I'm like, "Okay. Before I bring through your son, would you like to talk to your dad? I'm pretty sure that's who's been standing next to you for the last couple hours next to your chair." She goes, "Oh, okay." I said, "Okay." I said, "Hmm, did he have one of those cars that you hand crank?" She goes, "I have no idea." I said, "Okay." "Did he have some occasion to be wearing a tuxedo, a top hat, and one of those fake little canes?" She goes, "Yep, that's my dad." I'm like, "Oh
Mhm.
my God." I'm like, "Okay." I said, and I pretty sure this is your mom that just came up right next to him. I said, because she just walked over and they put their arms around each other and, he gave her a peck on the cheek. I said, she's a bit shorter than he is. I said, she's wearing what looks to me to be a ball gown and a crown on her head. She goes, "Yep, that's my mom." She goes, "I have that picture hanging over my fireplace." I'm like, "Oh my God," right? What are the odds of this, right? So I said, "Your dad says he's disappointed." He said the family name didn't get carried on because you only had one son and he didn't have any children. And he, he said you had a brother, but your brother didn't have any children. So he was pretty disappointed that the family name didn't get carried on. She goes, "Yeah, well, there's really nothing I can do about that." She goes, "I still want to talk to my son." I said, "Okay, let's try calling him." So I have her call him. I describe the next person. So there's this guy pacing back and forth. He's in a suit. Um, he's asking me if you want to know who murdered him. And she's like, "Nope, that's my brother." She goes, "We think we know who murdered him. We think we got the right person." I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." I'm like, "What the heck, right?" She said, "Well, he wants to thank you for taking care of him. He's saying you're the one that raised him, not your parents." She said, "Yeah, that's right. My parents were debutantes, and they were the social scene, and we never saw them. And I raised my brother." I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense then." And he wants everybody to know that the family name technically did get carried on because he had two children, both boys. And she's like, "What?" Like, "Yep." And he says, she was, who are they with?" Well, he said that one of them you knew who the mother was, and he'd appreciate you keeping it quiet. And the other one he's not gonna tell you because he doesn't want you starting any trouble. She goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "I didn't know that was his child. That makes a lot of sense. He looks just like him, blah, 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 blah." Okay. "But I still wanna talk to my son." I said, "Okay, call him again." And her son's not coming up. So I had to have her. So when I do readings like that for someone, I see this huge crowd of souls that show up. Everybody that knows you on the other side shows up. They're hoping that you're going to ask for them. Everybody that knows you shows up because they hope I'm going to slip up and say, "Anybody want to come through?" And they're all just going to like a stampede. I don't do that. So I had to have her brother go into this crowd of souls, and I literally saw him grab someone by the arm and bring him up. And this young man stood in front of me with his head down. He wouldn't look up at me. And that was a symbol for me that either he feels that he let her down or committed suicide, one of the two. So I asked her, I said, "Do you think he committed suicide?" And she's like, "Yeah, I caused him to kill himself." And as soon as he said that, his head popped up and he's like, "No, I did not. It was an accident." And I'm like, "He's telling me it was an accident." And as soon as I said that, the daughter came running over from the other table. She's like, she heard everything. She's like, "I knew it. I knew he didn't kill himself." She goes, "He was happy. He had a new girlfriend. He was cooking dinner. The TV was on. The lights were on." So then I asked him what happened. I said, "I'm feeling something with his neck, with his head, but it's not a hanging. I'm not sure what I'm feeling." So I asked him to show me what happened. And when you do mediumship, you have to remember that you are always in charge. You are in charge. If you're afraid of what's on the other side, they're not going to show themselves to you. So you don't have to worry about that. But you're always in charge. So I have an agreement with them on the other side that they can show me what happened with no blood or no gore, because I don't want to see that. So he showed me that he was watching TV while he was cooking dinner, and they were juggling chainsaws. And he went down to the shed and tried to juggle a chainsaw, and it slipped, and he literally beheaded himself.
Mm.
And I said to her, "Is this what happened?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what happened. And the police just told us that he did it on purpose." I said, "No, it was an accident." I said, "He said that his medication had just been changed. Was he on some kind of medication for something?" And she's like, "Yeah, he was bipolar and they changed his medication like a day or two prior to this happening." I said, "Well, that was basically the cause because he was kind of disoriented and he thought he could go down and juggle the chainsaw." Um, so once she realized that she did not cause this to happen to him, it was a reuniting of souls, both this side and the other side. Because on the other side, he was in despair knowing that his mother all these years thought that she caused his death and her life was basically destroyed. Can you imagine being a mom
Mhm.
and thinking that you were the cause of something like that? And, she's like, she had prayed for him to come in her dreams or to come see her, anything, and he hadn't, and he couldn't because he felt so ashamed. And now that the air had been cleared between the two of them, he was able to actually go over and hug her, which I could see, she could feel. And, he was, I guarantee, coming to see her in her dreams and things after that, but it really cleared the air for the both of them so they could both move on. So, and I said to her after, I said, "This happened," I said, "How long ago was this?" I think she said it was like 35 years ago or 45 years ago.
Mhm.
And I said to her, "Why didn't you come to see somebody like me before? To clear this up?" And she said she'd been gone to see every medium she could find for the last 35 or 45 years. No one has been able to bring her son through. I was the first one to ever bring him through.
Mhm.
That was the moment that no matter what anybody said about me, no matter what anybody ever called me, I knew I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. If I
Mhm.
could have helped that poor woman all those years ago, her life would have been so different. She was just so frail and so destroyed, thinking that she had, caused her only child to die, her only son. She had a daughter, but yeah, it was amazing. But it's interesting the stuff that comes through. And again, you just have to give what you get because I'm still floored at the stuff that came through from that reading. I really am.
Mhm.
I really am. So, any questions that you want answered tonight?
Um, Maybe talk about me guides. I have guides talk to me all the time, so I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So, if you think about it, when you pass to the other side, you have angels, right? Angels are a separate race. They're there to help you when you ask if you need something. And you have your guardian angel, right? That can step in and help you whenever you need it. But now you have all these souls that are on the other side, right? What are they doing other than hanging around, right?
Mhm.
Some of them are out traveling, some of them are learning, right? Some of them are just whatever it is they feel like doing. But you've got a lot of people that were human at one point in time on the other side that still have a lot of talent. Look at all the writers we had back then, right? Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe and all these people that wrote these wonderful books. Well, these are guides. If they step up to be guides. And when I was writing my first book was actually my autobiography. And I was working on that and I kept hearing, "You need to write the book. You need to." I'm like, "I'm writing the book." And then heard, "No, not that book." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They wanted me to write a book about the mediumship and psychic development that I was teaching so that my students had some type of a handbook or something to take. So I literally told them, "Listen, I'm busy. I'm working. I'm taking care of my mom who's dying. I'm writing my autobiography. If you want me to write another book, plus I'm teaching this, if you want me to write another book, you're going to have to help me. You're going to have to send the highest guide there is from the other side to help me write this book because I don't have time." And that's exactly what they did. They sent me a guide from the other side to help me write this book, and I literally wrote it and published it in 6 weeks. And that
Mhm.
ended up being my first book, A Night on the Other Side. And that is kind of a handbook on how to meditate properly and how to cleanse your house and the hierarchy of the angels, all these things. A lot of the things that I talk about are in that first book. But that's what your guides are for. So if there's something that you're trying to do that's new, um, say you're doing a woodworking project or you're starting a painting project, right? You can call on the highest guide there is on the other side to help you with that project. Now, I don't ask for specific guides. I wouldn't ask for Picasso or Rembrandt. And I wouldn't do that because they may not be there, number one. They may have reincarnated already and not be there, or they may not be willing to help because every soul on the other side is not necessarily willing to step up and be a guide. Okay. But there are lots and lots that are. So all you have to do is ask for the highest guide on that side that's willing to help. And the same thing when I wrote this book, All's Fair in Love and Karma. I'll have to be very honest. When I write, I'm a mess. I'm taking notes on my hand and, I'm talking into my phone. And when I get home, I'm, putting stuff into the computer. And then it's like, none of these things flow together. Nothing makes any sense. So then I have to call on my guides from the other side to help me organize it. And boom, 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 I'm just cutting and pasting and cutting. And I don't even know what I'm doing, quite honestly, but I've asked for their help and I'm just doing whatever it is that's coming through. And lo and behold, it's a bestseller, right? So they're always there to help you, but just ask. That's all you need to do. And they'll give you the information that you're looking for. That's a great question.
Mhm.
Great question.
Yeah, they talk to me all the time.
Yeah. Yep. And it's all about listening,
Yes, and it's in the same thought voice, but it's said differently.
Well, and it's not
I
you
know it's
because,
not me, right?
right, because it's the difference between I think and I know.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
yeah.
And it
It's
comes through
just
as
said
a
with
knowing.
authority and certainty, and just comes out of nowhere. It wouldn't have been following my thought pattern.
Exactly, exactly. Whenever, and
Just
it's
came
like when you're
firing in.
meditating. It's the same thing when you're meditating. People have trouble meditating. I get it. It's tough to shut your brain off and you're thinking about the laundry and you're thinking about grocery shopping and they got to pick up
Hmm.
the kids. And those are the thoughts you want to keep pushing out of your head. But that thought that just suddenly jumps into your head, oh, my friend when I was 12 years old, really? That thought that comes into your head out of nowhere, that's from the other side.
Yeah,
That's how you know it's from the other side, it's not you. Yeah.
right.
And the more you listen and the more you're used to it, the more you know it's from the other side, it's not
Oh,
you.
yeah,
You just get used to it.
yeah. I do know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, it's not that you hear voices other than
No,
your own. It's in your own thought voice, but
it
it's
is.
said,
It's just that thought just suddenly is there.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just said with a different tone and more just certainty.
yeah,
Just
it
comes
just
through
yeah.
as guidance.
Yep, it just shows up, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Hmm.
funny, it's like whenever I, lose anything, an item, and I'm frantically looking for whatever it is, it used to be my diamond earrings, but now I've got them locked in so that they can't lose them on me. That was the game. Anytime my faith was faltering, I would lose one of my diamond earrings, and no matter how much I looked, I couldn't find it. I would have to ask our chain, St. Anthony to help
Hmm.
me find the earring. And as soon as I sat down and asked, within minutes, I'd hear, look here or look
Hmm.
there. And I'm saying, and
I've
now
had
I'm
that
saying to myself, I've
experience.
already looked there. Why would I do that again? But you're telling me to. So sure enough, I look and there it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, I've had that experience too. All of a sudden, it'll say, "Go look in the side of the couch or something."
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was looking for the nail drill for a while to do Whiskey's nails when I first got him. And I tore everything apart. I went through the boxes in the garage. I went through everything everywhere. I looked under all the sinks, into all the storage, everywhere I put everything. I couldn't find it. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why did I not just sit down and ask St. Anthony where it is? And that's what I did. I sat down and asked St. Anthony to find it for me, and within a couple of minutes, I heard to look underneath the bathroom sink in the corner. I'm like, I looked under there again. Sure enough, I pulled everything out. That's where it was.
Mm,
Yep. So
yeah.
they know. Yeah, they know. They love to help. What else are they
Mhm.
doing, right? Not a lot.
Yeah, sometimes I hear, "Are you sure you wanna do that?"
That's funny.
You really wanna do that?"
That's funny. It's kinda like when I go shopping or I have an appointment somewhere and, I've got a bad back, I don't like to walk too far. I'm always asking the angels to find me a parking spot right in the front.
Mhm.
And there have been a couple of times I'm getting close and I'm like, "Oh, guys, I asked early," and I'll hear, "Wait," and I'll just stop for a second and boom, there the car goes out. I go in.
I did this for 2 weeks at my job. I had listened to a tape by Wayne Dyer, and he was saying, "There's always a place to park. You just say, 'I'll be there in 10 minutes, get out of my spot.'" So I said, "Oh, well, we're having a problem at parking at work." So I said, "I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. I want my parking spot under this tree because it was summertime and it was very hot. And this was the shaded spot." I pull in, and that was the only empty spot in that parking lot.
It's great, isn't it?
And I thought, that has to be a coincidence.
There are no coincidences in this world.
You're right. I know now.
Yeah,
And
there are
I
no
did it every
coincidences.
day. And every
Yeah,
day there was that one spot.
it's awesome,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is awesome. It really is awesome.
When you learn how to work with the universe, it's just incredible. It's like
Yeah.
Christmas every day. You ask and you receive. It's just
You
incredible.
find life is nothing like you thought it was.
It isn't. It
It
really
isn't.
isn't.
No, it isn't. We make it so difficult.
We do. We truly do. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And it actually gets to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, we've been told, "Ask and you shall receive."
And it's
And
true.
instead, we knock ourselves out trying to do it ourselves.
We are stubborn people. That we
Mhm.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all you have to do is ask and it shows
Yep.
up every
Said,
time.
"Ask and you shall receive."
Very true. Yep.
At the present time, I have the universe sending me money all over the place.
Isn't that great too?
I can't even explain it. Like if I go to the doctor, and this is not one doctor, this has happened with several doctors. They tell me your copay is $15. I say, okay, I paid the $15. Next time I come back, they say, oh, you have a credit. How could I have a credit when I paid what you told me I owed? It's okay. And it has happened several times. Just this past week, I got a check from the hospital for $130. And all it says is credit. I have no idea
That's
where
great.
this came from. My husband got one today for $30.
That's awesome.
It is amazing.
Yeah,
It
it's how
truly
money
is.
works. It's how money is nothing more than energy.
Hmm.
It's that's why it's called currency. And
Hmm.
it's what we use in this life to show whether or not you're balanced. So it has to come,
Hmm.
it has to go, and it should be like a game.
Hmm.
You can't hold on to it, you can't hoard it, you have to let it go and more will come
Hmm.
back in,
Right.
you
One
know?
of the things I learned about that balance is when you get out of balance, you have to go all the way to the opposite extreme to create the balance. Let's say an alcoholic is out of balance at drinking the alcohol. He has to go to no alcohol to create the balanced life.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the situation, but yeah.
Right, yeah. But like
Because
if
it
you're
yeah,
overweight, you have to cut back on your food to get back in balance. If you get out of balance, it forces you to get back in.
right. And it's not balancing your energy is not an easy thing. It
Hmm.
really is not an easy thing. I have a 7-week online program helping people fix their relationships, but it's all about balancing their energy. And it truly takes at least 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks to balance your energy, to learn how to do it.
Hmm.
It's intense every day. to be able to learn how to balance your energy. And then if you don't continue to meditate and follow what you've been taught, you will again get out of balance. It doesn't mean your energy will stay balanced forever. You
Oh,
have
right.
to maintain what you do to stay in balance. It's very easy to get out of balance. And you'll know you know your energy is not balanced when you're affected by things like the full moon, the new moon, people making comments about you, things like that. If those things are throwing you out of balance, I mean, if they're affecting you, you're not in balance at all. Yeah. It's not an easy thing, but life is a lot nicer and a lot easier when you're in balance. The highs aren't so high, the lows aren't so low, but everything kind of moves along nice and steady, and the universe
Just
brings you
ask and you
everything you
shall
want.
receive.
Yeah, the universe brings you everything you want. It truly does. It's funny, years ago, many, many years ago, one of the things I wanted in life was to be able to fly for free because I love to travel and it's expensive, you know? And I had applied for an airline stewardess position at Southwest Airlines. And it took them about 2 years to work through, get to my application and go through all the rigmarole, and to offer me a job. And by the time it took them to do that, my life had changed to the point I had gotten a new dog. It's like, I don't want the job anymore. I'm not gonna, I couldn't stay away from my dog and away from the home and I started doing my mediumship and things. I'm like, I don't want the job anymore. Although I still wanted to travel for free, right? Let's fast forward another 5 years, right? My middle son is now an airline pilot. Mom gets to fly for free. The universe brings it to you, not always the way you expect it, but the universe will always bring you what you want and what you ask for. So people have to remember that, when something shows up at some point in time, remember at one point in time, this is what you wanted. This is what you asked for. It may have taken a little longer to get to you, but it gets there. It always
It's
brings you.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. When you learn how the universe works, it's very exciting. Every day is something new. All right. Well, I guess we're going to call it a quick show tonight then.
Okay.
I'm not having any other questions come through. And I think we're going to pass for next week. And I will put something out in a couple of weeks. And everyone will see that notice and they can sign up again. And if you want to know when it is, you can just text me as well or send me a message and I will let you know when it is.
Okay.
All good?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I will see you soon.
Okay.
Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
All right,
Bye.
bye.